Welcome back to Vin versus History. I'm here with Horatio Gould.
Regret is for little children.
It's part 4 of our Eichmann blockbuster series.
Give me the ick, man. More like.
Yeah, Adolf Eichmann. Icky guy. There's something a bit up with this guy.
Yeah, there's something weird about him.
Go on a date with him and go,
yeah.
It just gives me bad vibes.
Yeah, it gives me boring vibes.
We left off on the cliffhanger that I once ate 24
We're
mince
now
pies.
going to stand Finn for trial for who ate all the mince pies.
And it was me. I plead guilty and asked for the jury's mercy. So it was the Christmas period.
Right, I hope so. Yeah, okay, that's a bit less fat.
Yeah.
Because outside, that's real fat.
But there are
shit.
some foods that you can't. They're seasonal. Mince pies is one.
You can be so fat that the seasons.
This is what I
pass
mean.
you by.
This is what you can be so fat that you're eating food regardless of season. Like if you're eating mashed potato in the summer, you're a fucking idiot. That's the most winter food possible. You know, if the sun's shining, you're outside and you're ordering a bowl of mash, you're an absolute disgrace.
Yeah. Well, we got a little sweet treat after lunch.
Toad in the hole.
Yeah.
Winter sport.
Yeah, surely.
What were you saying about sweet treats?
We got some sweet treats after lunch, and then you wanted M&Ms.
Yeah.
And I said there was something fat about that, about what the M&M choice, and it's because Charlie says it's old school, so it implies someone's been eating chocolate.
You've been eating chocolate for a long time.
What kind of accusation is that? Why is it old school?
I don't know why. M&M's is just funny.
No, you're not calling me fat, you're just calling me old.
Fat and old.
No, it's a man who knows his jockey.
What, are you saying they're good?
Yeah, they are good, but you have to
I don't think they're very good, actually, M&M's.
Well, firstly, you left before I could tell you what type of M&M I would like.
What did you want?
Peanut butter ones.
Oh,
I mean, chocolate M&Ms are good. M&Ms are like cool.
I think, well, like M&M World.
Yeah, I'm going M&M World most weekends.
That's how you do your weekly shop.
Well, name another chocolate that's got that kind of real estate behind
It's
it.
true. No. Hey, look. I don't get it. It's like Taylor Swift. It's not for me, but you have to respect the scale.
So what are you getting for a jockey treat?
For a jockey treat, well, what I got today was a Bueno because I'm gay.
That's gay as shit. Fucking woke Bueno, piss off.
Yeah.
That's woke nonsense.
I love a Malteser. For a packeted chocolate, I'd go for a Malteser.
Revels are they're my thing.
Why are you like enjoy? The thing about Revels is I just like, why are you like, oh, what is it going to be like?
That's great. It's a surprise in a bag.
2 of them are shit, and there's 4
it's
of
Russian
them.
roulette with Revels. It's great. It's chocolate Russian roulette. It's safe Russian roulette.
Well, one of them should be cyanide if it's Russian.
Yeah, you're right. One of them should be. Do you reckon that's what happened in the bunkers? That Hitler just had a coffee Revel?
What pisses me off about Revels is there's 4 of them. 2 of them are great. 2 of them suck, and they're always sold next to
There's more than 4.
There's only 4. It's chocolate, orange,
coffee,
toffee,
and there's minstrels. And
check how many types are in.
I think there's maybe up to 8 Revels. Chocolate, coffee, raisin, orange, toffee, Maltesers.
All right, I didn't know there's so many.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking about you. So this is mince pie story.
Yeah. So it was Christmas, and my parents were having a dinner party. I'm 8 in this story. I'm big. I'm a sort of. I'm like, you know, possibly as big as it's possibly my peak era.
Prime.
Possibly in my fat
Young
prime.
Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Brazilian Ronaldo.
Original Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Fat Ronaldo.
When he wasn't fat.
When he wasn't fat.
So this is Fat Finn.
These are my stepovers. I'm bamboozling. I'm the king of Serie A at this point. I've got a stupid haircut. So my parents are having dinner party. They've got people around for dinner, and I'm 8, so I'm allowed to stay up. But they don't want me at the dinner party because I'll eat all the food.
Yeah.
Or I'll say something vulgar, or
Yeah.
So what they do is they plonk me in front of the TV, and I've recently got a VHS of Chelsea's review of the season, 97-98.
Brilliant. They're raising a straight bloke.
Yeah, lovely. Mark Hughes against Vålerenga in the snow, orange ball,
Great.
halcyon days.
Brilliant.
They have left in the room a tray of 24 mince pies. And in my head, I go, oh, that's nice of them. They must be for me. What I then found out was that actually that was what they were going to serve their guests for dessert. But they left it in a room with me. It's a bit like that Fox Chicken in the Grain. You like the fat kid. Chelsea review of the season. A tray of 24 mince pies.
How are you going to get them?
How are you going to get them all out? I'll find a photo and bring it. I'll try and get one for the edit. I'll
that would be brilliant.
I saw one of me and I was just absolutely ashamed. I saw one of me on holiday in France, and I was like, God, I look like someone stretched some clothes over a cheeseburger. It was horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. Looked like I'm on a mobility scooter in like fucking Midlands or something. It looked awful. I'm so ashamed. I was like, you let me get like that. To my parents, like, you let me look like that. You didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Disgraceful. Anyway, I ate 18 mince pies.
Right.
Pretty much in about half an hour or something. Without really coming up for air. And then I thought, oh, I feel a bit weird now. Anyway.
They're so rich, mince pies.
Stifled that. Carried on.
Right. What, these shop bought ones or yeah.
And then they weren't in the foil, which I think makes it easier to lose track of how many there are.
Well, you would have eaten the foil otherwise, thank God.
Because with the foil you see, it's like you see 6 circles. So you can be like, okay, there's 24 circles there. I've eaten 24 mince pies. Without the foil, you think, I've just eaten a pile of mince pies. That's fine, isn't it? So I then go to bed. I remember Dad was reading me a story or something, and I'm like, I feel a bit weird. I don't feel well. And he was like, well, yeah, that's because you ate all the things we were meant to give our guests for dessert. So we had to do like an impromptu, I don't know, gave him some cheese or something. Anyway, my room in that house was at the end of a very long corridor, and the other end of the corridor was the bathroom. And I remember I got out my room and I was sick, but because there was a slight slope.
Right, there's a rake.
So the sick eventually got to the bathroom.
Right.
But I did not make it there. So I threw up and it got through like the entire corridor, a long corridor,
right,
covered in sick.
Are you collapsed
I'm collapsed at one end.
Yeah.
And then
what the fuck's happened here?
And then quite quickly we moved house.
What, because of that?
I think so. I think my mum got another job, but I think she started looking because I'd thrown up in the house.
Crime of the century.
Crime of the century. I ate 24 mince pies in one go. Anyway, we're talking about Adolf Eichmann.
Yeah.
This is not a man who ate 24 mince pies.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he's not greedy when it comes to food, I don't think. This guy.
Swap mince pies for Jewish people and you get a sense of the scale.
Getting carried away, I think, is a similar theme in both of these stories, the Eichmann and the mince pie story.
You'd say that Eichmann in Hungary. Yeah. That's my mince pie story.
That's you when you're hungry.
When I'm hungry, yeah. So we left off. Eichmann has been kidnapped illegally by some Israelis.
Yeah, it's a shocking crime.
It's shocking. And now the Israelis we brought to justice. That's what this trial is.
New Nuremberg trial.
He's suing them. He's suing them for wrongful kidnapping. No, the Israelis are going to put this man on trial. Yeah. And it's going to be the trial of the century. Yeah. It's one of the first televised trials. Right. And it's piped into homes around the world.
Well, it's made with the thought for a global audience. This is a huge thing to, one, justify Israel as a state, bring people back to the idea of the Holocaust, but it's built for an international audience.
Well, let's place this actually. So this is the Eichmann trial is 1961.
Right.
So do you want to place this for the
dum-dums? I'll just off the dome. This is after Pele scores a hat trick in the World Cup final.
Yeah, 58.
58, Sweden.
58, yeah. Pele's on the scene.
Pele's burst onto the scene.
Yeah.
It's before the high street shop The Works.
Fucking hell. That's a very, very boring thing to say. I think that's the most boring shop you could think of.
1981. Could have been a little closer, but it's not bad.
I bet Eichmann loves going in The Works. I mean, what do you even get in that shop?
Like, no, that's the whole point. You see Stuart Lee's bit about it. No. It's very funny how it's just like it seems to be nominally a bookshop staffed by people who have a deep-seated suspicion of books.
Yeah. And it's like
you get a 3 for 2 on like a paper mache build your own concentration camp.
Yeah, it's like a children's bookstore with books you'd never give to your kids.
No one knows what's in there.
It would make them thicker.
Yeah. Also, if you were forced to explain to someone abroad what
it's a bookshop with people who can't read. That's what it is. Anyway, Eichmann is on trial in Israel. He's been brought to Israel, and he will now face. Well, he'll face. It's not a jury. It's 3 judges. 3 Israeli judges.
Still out?
The jury's still out.
No, the jury's very
much in. The Holocaust happened, and it's a no from me. No thanks.
Yeah.
Never again.
Never again.
Even though it has happened again.
One more time.
A few more. Quite actually. Yeah. One more, please. Another one. Just a little thing to finish me off. So now, as I was saying in one of the other episodes, the Israeli attitude to the Holocaust in the 50s is quite funny.
It's really funny.
It's really, really funny.
Let's get a marker of any jokes because I
Yeah.
think I'm allowed 2 more of those. And
Oh,
then we
every
have to stop.
episode, then we have to stop. Well, I had it with Shiite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm allowed, give me 2 more and
All
then
right,
I'm
okay.
banned.
So what the Israelis do is what they think. So 1 in 4 Israelis are Holocaust survivors, and they basically the Holocaust survivors don't have any family. Famously,
Oh, don't slag them off.
no, they don't.
All right.
They've all been killed.
We have a very different understanding of what the Holocaust was.
Okay, allegedly they've been killed. They've gone missing. I don't know where they've gone.
6 million Madeleine McCanns. We'll just never know.
We'll never know. Although in both instances, I suspect a German.
Yeah.
So 1 in 4 Israelis are Holocaust survivors, and so other Israelis, they don't. They're kind of like there's this idea that the Jews in World War II went into the concentration camps, quote, like lambs to the slaughter, like sheep to the slaughter. They were kind of passive,
Right.
and they went along with
the
it.
building of Israel as being such a tough state is probably the culture of Israel.
It goes
It's
completely against the 48, but forged in the fire of like heroic, muscular
Yes.
settler
Yes.
peoples
Yeah.
fighting off the British and the Arabs, finally making a homeland for Zionism. Blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and then you've got these images of like skeletal Jews passively filing into camps
Yeah.
to their murder. It doesn't compute
Right,
with the
right.
hey mate, hey, I don't know what an Israeli accent is.
You're struggling.
Hey,
You're
man.
struggling.
Hey,
You're-
man.
You're
Hey.
fumbling around the Middle East
What
for
is
an
an
accent
Israeli
there.
accent? I don't know what. It's hard to.
It's a tough one.
Really tough.
Because it's sort of white Middle Easterns.
Hey, man.
Yeah, because you know the New York Jewish one. But
Hey, I'm walking here.
Yeah.
I'm a mensch. Schmucks.
Baloney.
Baloney. Fucking get Eichmann out of fucking Argentina. Operation Bagel. Whatever
Yeah.
they call it. So, Operation Bagel. Get him home. Anyway, so basically the Holocaust in Israel is not really front and center of the culture there.
Yeah.
And what David Ben-Gurion, the Prime Minister, wants to do is he wants to do a sort of essentially a show trial where they will use witness testimony, survivor testimony from survivors of the Holocaust. He wants them to say it to Eichmann's face, who's like the face of the Holocaust, in a way to try and help young people who've grown up without the Holocaust understand what it is, what it was. And because also, you know, in Nuremberg, there weren't really any survivor testimonies. It's been 15 years since
It was arguably quite a rush trial, the Nuremberg trials.
Yeah, it wasn't a fair trial at all. There was no due process. This
Yeah, it was
time,
trial by public opinion.
That was due process. This is due process. Let's get the Jews to process what actually happened. But so what they decide, the prosecutor's a guy called Gideon Hausner.
Right.
He's pretty. You know, I've got when lawyers go on one, I'm putty in their hands. I love a prosecution lawyer.
Right.
Like an opening statement.
Yeah.
I love all
Yeah.
that. I'm some of my YouTube searches.
Passion for justice.
I love it. The lyricism and the conviction and the righteousness. I'm watching compilations of opening statements on YouTube.
What, like Premier League highlights?
Yeah. Premier League.
Yeah, Torre's 16-17 season.
This is his opening statement. When I stand before you here, judges of Israel, to lead the prosecution of Adolf Eichmann, I'm not standing alone. With me are 6 million accusers.
What, in one room?
Yeah, big room. He says they don't have a voice, so I'm here to speak for them.
Guy has no understanding about analogies or anything.
What?
There must be like 400 people in here.
Christ. I thought I was quite good at working out how many people were
If
in the
the
room.
judge just kept undercutting him. Oh, no, right.
Oh, metaphor. Sorry,
Metaphor.
right. Sorry, go
I'm
on.
really bad with that sort of stuff.
So what they decide to do is they decide that they're going to get a witness from every area of Nazi occupied Europe, and they're going to get them to tell their story to Eichmann, and the whole thing's televised, and they're going to try and prove Eichmann's complicity in the origins of the Holocaust, in the actual policy. That's what they want to do.
Right.
And they want to show that all these different things, the Einsatzgruppen, the free jazz, like murder on the Eastern Front,
Yes.
and the big industrial slaughterhouses like Auschwitz and Treblinka, and the death march and the forced labor to death, and all these different ways of killing, that they were all part of a final solution, a policy, a top-down implemented thing. It wasn't just a bunch of random bad things that happened to happen. They're trying to paint this picture, which is how we now understand the Holocaust.
Yeah, this is what I mean, is that if you don't know about the Eichmann trial, it's still completely shaped your view of the Holocaust, because it feels like...
Unless you're a denier.
Yeah.
In which case it's done the opposite. It's had the opposite effect.
Yeah, it's just pure fake news.
It's just like it's a drama.
Yeah, it's Judge Judy.
It's Judge Judy. Can you imagine Judge Judy doing this? Right. So it starts in April 61, and it will go on for 8 months, I think. I mean, there's some very funny things about his defence as well.
I mean, that's a tough. Who's the defence? Robert
Servatius. He's a German guy.
Right.
He defended some of the ones at Nuremberg as well, so he's got a bit of a specialty.
He's
a big fucker.
He's a big fucking crazy image.
He's a big fucker. He's a big fucker. Look at him.
What the fuck is that? Well, what's his politics?
I think you can probably have a stab.
It's what's strange about the legal system is that you can. Someone who's clearly guilty, you still need a defence.
Well, this guy's defence, he's not defending Nazism.
Yeah.
His defence is based on this is an illegitimate trial because you've kidnapped someone and Israel.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I mean, what else you got?
He's not being like, to be fair, you are all really annoying. That's not his defence, is it? Guys, you're really annoying and you don't integrate.
Like, it happened ages ago.
Yeah. My dad died.
This was fucking 15 years ago.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just like, guys.
No, he wasn't defending the Holocaust. He wasn't being like, guys, come on.
Yeah, that's just a tough one to take up. I'd have to get paid a lot. Because then people are just going to hate you when you're just doing your job. Because someone's got to defend
He
him.
does a lot of his own defence, Eichmann, in the trial. Because you can watch the whole thing on YouTube in sessions. And I've watched a lot. It's like cricket. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's pretty meaty stuff. I will say that.
Dry at times, potentially.
I mean, all the testimonies are pretty awful. But it's all, I would recommend. Well, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
In terms of like.
And so you've seen Dr. Servatius?
Yeah. But in terms of
you've
like.
seen his defence. You saw him actually do it.
There's clips of him doing it.
And he's just like...
His whole thing is that,
small cog in a big machine. Yeah, well, classic. He was just following orders, but that was like the same shit they wheeled out in Nuremberg, right?
Yeah, but this is where...
That's the go-to.
This is where the just following orders thing really starts to come in.
Right.
In April 61, we should paint the scene, and you can watch it on YouTube, and I would recommend it. It's amazing. They put Eichmann in like a Pope-mobile box.
Right.
Because they're like, we don't want him to be assassinated by a Jewish guy who can't take a joke.
Yeah, Jewish guy with a terrible sense of humour.
Yeah, we can't have him being assassinated on the basis of someone, but of a stag do that happened 10 years ago. So they put him in a glass box and they have two policemen sat either side of him. And then there's a courtroom filled with maybe like 500, 600 people.
Right.
And it's a community theatre that they built into a courtroom. So it's a massive audience. It's amazing.
Is it custom built?
Yeah,
room?
They built it. They built it just for this, and it's amazing how like respectful and quiet and civil the whole thing is when you're talking about the worst crime humanity's ever. Yeah. Which I guess was the whole point. It's to be the civilized counterpoint to the most.
I mean, Charlie would have different ideas how to deal with this.
Dip him in poo.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, look, there were several options on the table for what to do with that Eichmann. One of them was to have a trial. The other one was to drown him in a mountain of poo. This would be a very different episode if they'd chosen that one. But one of the amazing things about this footage is that you have survivors telling the most awful stories. Like, I was holding my kid, like toddler, shot in the head, put into a pit, and then I go, I'm going to can you shoot me? And they're like, nah. And then they just walk away. Awful stuff. And they're saying this to him in the box, and he's just laying like.
Well, is he?
Yeah. Well, you can read it on his face. We'll get some close-ups.
Like whenever I see his face, it could. Well, you see it, and it's like, is that just a bloke waiting for a bus
in a box? But. Yeah, I mean, he does look. He looks very bored.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, if you didn't know that this was the Eichmann trial, this could be. That's literally my resting face.
He's almost going like, "Fucking hell,
Jesus Christ, this is boring as hell." Well, he's been there for 8 months. Why you got this smirk? Why are you looking smug at Eichmann?
No, so he has a twitch.
Oh right, fine. Because he looks fucking getting kooky. Brother's kooky.
No, this is the big testimony, by the way. The one that we're watching now. Yeah. This is a French guy, and so this is when the trial starts to break. And so there's testimony after testimony, and at all points they're trying to link Eichmann to these individual things. And his defense is like, listen, I organised trains. Himmler, he told me to run them some trains. I ran some trains. What happened at the other end? I have no idea. I'm just a train. I'm the flight controller. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Do the trains run on time? Yes, they do. I've done my job. Leave me alone. Yeah. Right, that's his defense. They find there's this episode in Paris where a bunch of French children, like young children, get shipped to Auschwitz, and Eichmann's signature is on the order to send the specific group of like 100 French kids to Paris. And then this guy tells the story, and then they go, and did you see any of the French children alive in Auschwitz? And he goes, obviously not. He says it like that. Obviously not. It's a death camp. And then you can see Eichmann during that. That's the thing that starts to really break like the deference and the calm in the courtroom.
Finally,
Eichmann's like sort of just complete passive.
He's been
boring.
he's been Jeffrey boycotting.
He's been boycotting everything, and suddenly something whistles passes off, and he a flicker of like, should I go for that or not?
Yeah.
But he suddenly you can see on his face, the close up on his face is amazing during that testimony, because he's just sort of going like, oh, you are making it sound quite bad, actually.
Yeah.
Like, so. Then this guy that we're about to show,
Denis Zetnek.
yeah, so he survived Auschwitz, and he became like a Jewish writer, but he starts delivering this very lyrical, poetic speech. He calls it Planet Auschwitz, and like, I'm Fallout from Planet Auschwitz, and
I wouldn't go to that theme park.
no, exactly. You got Thorpe Park, you got Alton Towers, and you got Planet Auschwitz. If you buy a Merlin pass, you can get into all three. And the great thing about Planet Auschwitz is you don't have to be this tall.
Yeah.
They'll let you in whatever height you are. But he basically says this kind of weirdly like poetic thing, and he brings his pajamas in as well, and then he just does the most insane feint, like it's so melodramatic, and then he faints, falls off the stand, he gets stretchered out.
So why does he faint?
Well, I guess because he's so overcome with emotion.
Right.
Because Eichmann's dad's died. If you're still listening to this, I really admire your constitution. Is what I'll say. If you're still with us, God bless you.
Oh my God.
God bless you. But it is. I genuinely recommend it. It's fucking. Yeah. It's one of the. If you're a history fan and you like me, you struggle with the Middle Ages because it's just not vivid and it's just really boring and smelly. You've got Holocaust survivors saying their stories to a Holocaust perpetrator, and you're seeing him try not to show any emotion.
And does he break?
Not really. So Hannah Arendt, the political philosopher.
Yeah, well, this is the big philosophy that comes out.
She writes a book called Eichmann in Jerusalem, The Banality of Evil.
Yes.
And that banality of evil is where that phrase comes from. And because she's sort of grappling with the fact that this guy is not some cartoonish, Hitlerish villain. He is just anyone who was given orders and just wanted to follow the orders and didn't even question the orders and the morality of them.
And it changed our whole idea of evil could basically be so contextual in the sense that any one of us could commit huge crimes of evil.
Because there's a brilliant book on the Einsatzgruppen called Ordinary Men, which is by a guy called Christopher Browning.
What's that group again?
Einsatzgruppen, that's one of my WhatsApp groups. But it's also the groups of roving murderers in the Eastern Front. Right. Christopher Browning wrote this book called Ordinary Men, and his thesis was that basically a lot of the people who did the Holocaust, the Nazis, were ordinary people. They weren't these villains. They were just people who had been pushed inch by inch, slowly, like a frog in boiling water, to the point where they were committing these heinous things.
Well, every British school kid has a vague understanding of that concept because it's what's taught in schools and it's a prevailing idea
so
of
the Milgram experiment, conducted by Yale, was a series of social psychology experiments that measured the willingness of participants to obey an authority figure who instructed them to perform acts that conflicted with their personal conscience, notably inflicting electric shocks on another person. Right. So
do you remember how they did it? So they'll be in one room. It's someone in a white coat, and it's also because of the authority figure of someone in a white coat just trusting what they say because they've got that kind of badge of authority. And then you'd press a button, then you're told that it administered like a small shock. Yeah. And every time you do it, you'd hear a shout from the other room.
Because there's a bloke with a fucking cock ring up his arse.
Oh!
Push a button.
Oh!
Yeah.
And another! Oh!
John Motson had a dildo up his arse.
Oh!
He was sat on a Sybian in the next room, and you were pressing the button.
Did you hear the awful stories have come out about Motson being sexually pretty inappropriate?
No.
Really?
Motson?
I know, Motty.
Where's this?
I heard this on the Upshot podcast, which is a great podcast. Check it out.
Motson?
He, we will get back to the Eichmann trial.
Is this the trial of Motson?
Apparently,
is Motson on trial?
With the young female journalist, he was meeting her in like a cafeteria during like a match day or something, right? And he goes, he gets a Viagra out of his pocket, says, "Do you know what this is?" Yeah? And she's like, "Can I have a guess?" He takes it and he says, "You have 20 minutes to make your decision." How fucking creepy is that? And then also, he, which completely changed your view.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and then he'd always have a Kit Kat, and this one's definitely true. 4-finger Kit Kat is his ritual. Halftime, cup of tea, 4-finger Kit Kat. And once an intern got my Kit Kat chunky, and apparently he completely hit the roof. He goes, "Motti doesn't do chunkies." Motti does not do chunkies.
Oh, God.
So it's more like in a position of power, men can do awful things.
That's crazy. So, sorry, go back to the Milgram experiment.
So they build it up, and then you'd see this happen. Some people would walk out, but a lot of people, just out of like people-pleasy politeness, would keep going. And all the doctor can say, or the person in the white coat, is to complete the test, you must carry on. And they're like, I'm sure it's like, please just carry on. We'll deal with questions afterwards. Eventually, the script.
Charlie's eating the M&Ms. Charlie's trying not to be.
Sorry, are we boring you, Charlie?
Just fucking started eating M&Ms.
Eventually,
if he was in the Eichmann trial, he would have started eating M&Ms through the testimony. Hurry up, love. He's got popcorn there. Come on then. What happened?
He's got a Tango Ice Blast.
Yeah. What happened after he got on the train?
I missed the first bit. What
Sorry,
were we talking about?
You know when your girlfriend's talking to a film. Is he bad then, is he? They've broken a box. Is he bad? What's he done? I missed the first 20 minutes.
Basically, the screams eventually stop.
Yeah.
Implying that
do they get more powerful the more
they
you
get
push
powerful
it?
and then they stop and you keep going. So you don't know if you're...
So, but
anyway.
this comes out of the Eichmann trial and this and Arendt's book, and the idea that people will obey authority and do heinous things.
Jobsworth.
It's Jobsworth. It's
I always have a deep distrust of Jobsworth.
It's the Jobsworths on trains telling you to shush in a quiet carriage.
Yeah, I really.
If they have too much power, they're Eichmann.
I have a deep suspicion of Jobsworth.
Yeah, because they go on, Charlie.
I understand the kind of idea of keeping it civilized, but do you not think they could have at least humiliate him or like gunge him a bit?
Did you say gunge him?
Yeah.
For like Nickelodeon slime.
Dave Benson Phillips, get your own back.
Yeah, just
is that
something.
What this is?
Anything other than just like
Eichmann, get your own back. And Dave Benson Phillips just.
Because I still think they can maintain their sort of, this is civilized, but fuck you.
They do not to spoil the ending. They do hang him.
Yeah, but that's kind of.
You can still maintain your dignity if you're a Nazi sympathizer. You could still project dignity onto.
But the whole point is not just about justice being done; it's being seen to be done, and it's about Israel as a. There's people still talking about Israel as illegitimate, and this is meant to be a whole like state.
Yes,
show
it doesn't make you look legitimate. It makes you look like
how proper the country is.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
It's true.
Anyway, so the fact that all these awful stories are being told to him, people are breaking down, people are fainting, and Eichmann the whole time is just like...
He's got this unfortunate smug
He's got this little kind of smug twitch. Like it looks like he's just farted in the box. The fucking policeman is like, there's another one. There's fucking hours and hours. I think there's 110 Holocaust survivors that testify, all of them with their own story.
Fuck.
At some point, it's quite funny. There's a woman talking about her experience, and the judge just goes, yeah. Like, come on,
right.
we get it. We get it.
We don't.
Boring. Hurry up. Anyway, so then, that's right. In June, this is when they get onto the Wannsee conference, and they're like, you were in the room, and he was like, I was taking the minutes, and they were like, you heard from all the big boys that it was about killing. Now it was about full extermination, and you're going to gas, and he was like, I don't think I remember that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And they're like, you were there. You can't deny that you knew that this was policy. And he's like, nah, I don't remember. Sorry. Maybe. I don't know. I was just taking the minutes. I'm a civil servant.
All right. Sorry we asked.
And they're like, okay, court's adjourned. And then they show footage of like Jews being shot and put into pits and stuff. And they get up deportation orders that are signed. They try and correlate people's tattoos, because all the prisoners of camps have their numbers on their arm. They try and correlate that with he had these massive spreadsheets and like forms of like people's numbers.
And this is before Excel as well.
Before Excel, so he was a real fucking admin king.
Yeah.
There's even a story, someone's testifying, and they're testifying about this thing they saw in, I think, one of the ghettos, maybe the Warsaw ghetto. They see a boy who's whipped 80 times on the floor, like a 12-year-old boy. And then the judge goes, and how do you know what happened to that boy? And the guy goes, well, he's here in this room. And it's one of the prosecutors. There are moments like that of like a bit of sort of legal flair where you see Eichmann kind of be like,
Yeah.
You know, he's clearly on the ropes.
Yeah.
Then we come to one of the funnier bits of the trial, which is his defense. Because the guy's got no fucking defense.
Yeah.
He's cooked.
It's like,
you're all really annoying.
He didn't mean it.
I didn't mean it. It was a joke.
He had his fingers crossed the whole time.
Not. So he basically, Eichmann, his whole defense is, I was just doing my job, just like you guys are doing your job. I was following out my orders. All the Holocaust stuff, that was all orders. I was just all about transportation. And he said it's very regrettable that I got involved at all, but I was just focusing on transport. I'm a cog in the machine. I was following orders. I'm a robot. What shall I do? I'll do this. You know, That's his whole defense. But he has this ego. And then when there's a moment where he comes out and there's a big map of what Nazi occupied territory there was, and he has a big stick, and he starts to get a bit excited about all the little train routes. You see, you like, it comes back. He's like, and then I will move some there and there.
Yeah, it's like a retrospective.
Yeah, totally.
Through an artist's work.
When they get to Hungary, he's completely he's fucked.
I mean, that's him at his worst, when he was literally being told from above.
He's being told, stop killing Jews.
Yeah.
We've done it now. Can we stop? And he's like, nah.
Yeah.
So that's when he's completely undone. They then find him guilty of not everything, not all the charges, because the prosecution sort of failed to really demonstrate that he's responsible, that he's like instigated the Holocaust.
Right.
But they kind of beyond reasonable doubt prove that he carried it out. You know, he disobeyed orders to carry on doing it in Hungary.
What doesn't help is when he does have a quote that says, to sum it all up, I must say that I regret nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he stands by it, I guess.
Yeah.
It was actually an achievement that was never matched before or since. And that was about the deportation of more than 400,000 Jews from Hungary.
I guess it's all about perspective.
Success is relative, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a glass half full kind of guy.
Yeah, he's a glass half full guy, yeah. There's also these quite damning tapes from when he was in Argentina. He basically had these mad Alan Partridge-esque sessions where he wrote his memoirs with another Nazi over bottles of wine, like every Sunday for 3 months. And he just spilled it all out. And he was like, I'm bouncing back. You know, he's in hiding, basically, writing his memoirs.
Right. Well, yeah, because they interview him for ages, and he gives a crazy amount of information.
Yeah, he's got reams and reams and reams of this stuff.
That's what's interesting, is he does tell them so much.
Yeah, he tells them everything.
Yeah.
Because he's sort of proud of his work.
Yeah,
like he's arrogant and thick, and a Nazi. He's a triple threat.
Triple threat.
Thick, arrogant Nazi.
Yeah.
So let's wrap this up. The judges find him guilty. They sentence him to death by hanging. He appeals, as is his right. And then,
it's your right to appeal.
He appeals.
We've had another look at it. You're free to go.
The court rejects his appeal.
Right.
He then appeals to the Prime Minister for special treatment.
Because his dad died.
His dad died. Mate, my dad just died. Don't kill me now. The Prime Minister pretty much instantly goes, fuck off.
Fair enough.
And then on May 31st, he's hanged in Ramallah prison in Israel.
Yeah.
Just before midnight. They build a crematorium in the prison just for him, which is a nice bit of, what goes around comes around.
Yeah. And
there's an amazing story of the guy that hangs him, the executioner, who I think recently died. He sees like the ashes from Eichmann that comes out of the crematorium, and then he remembers being in Poland and seeing this mountain of ash.
Yeah.
And what the Nazis made the Jews at the labor camp do was they spread the ash over the icy road so that they wouldn't slip. Right. And then he's only just really puts together when he sees Eichmann's ash pile. It's like, oh yeah, every bit of ash was a person, and that just shows how many like hundreds of thousands of people in this.
They use it as grit for the roads.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Which I hope they've stopped doing.
But they spread his ashes across the Mediterranean, so he doesn't have a grave or a shrine.
They get in a boat and they drive 6 miles outside of territorial waters of Israel.
Yeah. And
they plop him in there. So there is a possible tour you can do where you see Eichmann. And
I guess if you're really opportunistic tourist trapper, you could really try and...
I'm dying in a submersible that's looking for Eichmann and Bin Laden. So at the end of it, Israel now absorbs the Holocaust into its kind of cultural memory. It's having heard all these testimony, a lot of them from like
The people who are saying it wasn't that bad.
actually it was
Sounds pretty
camps
bad.
weren't all that bad.
Yeah.
Some of them were 3 stars.
Yeah.
They weren't all 1 star. Basically, they have a national holiday called Holocaust and Memorial and Bravery Day. I can't remember quite how they worded it, but essentially the bravery of a lot of the resistance fighters that they hear from starts being absorbed into that very masculine Israeli alpha identity.
The identity,
and
right.
suddenly the Holocaust is kind of writ large as to what it actually was. And this is streamed in Britain for an hour every night for months.
On Twitch.
Thumbs up on Twitch. When Eichmann's testifying, they're like, nah. The journalists are going mad. The press are like, this is the most insane trial. I can't even recount the testimony. It's too unbearable for people watching. But Eichmann throughout it all is just staring, passive.
Yeah.
So I guess the end of the story is that Eichmann's a bad guy who killed a lot of people. But the upside...
Hot take.
Yep, you heard it here first. But the upside is that everyone sort of found out what the Holocaust was, and he was executed.
Yeah.
So, every cloud.
Well, that brings us to the end of our epic first
four-part
four-part.
Eichmann
We've gone on a
series.
journey, a real journey. Obviously, the main victim was Eichmann's dad, who we're going to dedicate this episode
Yeah, we're
to.
now going to end on a minute's silence for Eichmann's dad. If you'd like to have a patron special, we will be dealing with the life of Eichmann's dad. Who was he before his life was tragically cut short? Find out.
We're going to probably do a Patreon episode
We're gonna
on the theories of Hitler still being alive, conspiracy theories about...
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
And then we'll do another
Hitler
one.
in Brazil.
Hitler in Brazil. Did he go to Brazil? The answer is no, but it's quite fun. It's quite a fun story. But yes, if you've enjoyed this, sign up to the Patreon for more. And if not, thank you so much for stopping by. And we will see you next week for a brand new topic.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Cheers.